Namaste. Today I'm going to read Volume 3, Book 3, SataRudra Samhita, Chapter 39. The demon Mukha is killed in the context of the incarnation of Kirata in the Shiva Puran. Hariom Tatsat. Nandishvara said he performed the ablution duly and the nyasa, the mystic placing of fingers, etc., in accordance with the sastric injunctions. He performed the meditation of Shiva with great devotion in the manner explained by Vyasa. Like a great sage, he stood on the sole of a single foot. He fixed one of his eyes at the sun and stood repeating the mantra, repeating the 5-syllable mantra of Shiva, the most excellent of all the mantras, and mentally remembering Shiva. With pleasure he performed the penance. The splendor of the penance was such that the gods were surprised. They went to Shiva again and told him sincerely. The god said, O Lord of all, a penance is being performed by a man for your appropriation. O Lord, why don't you grant him what he desires? And Ishvara said, after saying this, the gods eulogized him in different ways. Fixing their eyes to his feet, they stood there in agony. On hearing their words, the Lord of benevolent mind, the delighted Shiva, laughingly spoke thus to the gods. Shiva said, O gods, you go to your abode. Undoubtedly, I shall carry out your task in every respect. Nandishvara said, on hearing those words of Shiva, they became assured. They therefore returned to their abodes. In the meantime, there came the demon Mukha, instigated by the wicked Duryodhana, wielding Maya against Arjuna. O great Brahmin, he had assumed the form of a bull. He came along the path where Arjuna was staying. He was digging up the peaks of mountains and trees in plenty. He was roaring and grunting in diverse ways, and was rushing in a great speed. On seeing the demon Mukha, Arjuna remembered the lotus-like feet of Shiva and began to think. Arjuna said, who is this? Where does he come from? He seems to be very ruthless in action. Certainly, he is coming here to harm me. It occurs to me that he is my enemy, to be sure. Formerly many Dechas and Danavas had been killed by me. He may be one of those come here to wreak vengeance. Or he may be some friend of Duryodhana acting for his welfare. Verily he is a benefactor on seeing whom the mind becomes pleased. If on seeing anyone the mind is agitated, he is surely an enemy. The conduct declares the family, the body declares diet, the mode of speech declares the amount of learning, and the eye indicates the affection. The concealed mind is revealed by the general mien, the mode of walking, the activities, the speech, the features of the eyes, and the face. The eye is of 4 sorts: the resplendent, the impassioned, the squinted, and the ruddy. The features are likewise different, O scholars. It is resplendent when friends meet. It is impassioned at the sight of the sun. It is squinted in contact with the beloved, and it is ruddy at the sight of the enemy. In regard to him, my sense organs are excited. He must be an enemy. Undoubtedly, he shall be killed. I remember the words of my preceptor now, King. A person causing misery shall be killed by you. By all means, no doubt need be entertained in this respect. It is only for this purpose that I hold the weapons. There is no doubt in this. After thinking thus, he placed the arrow ready there and stood up. In the meantime, Shiva, favorably disposed to his devotees, assumed the wonderful form of an efficient hunter and came there along with his gunners in order to slay that Decha, to protect Arjuna as well as to test his devotion. The hunter had tucked up his lion cloth and folded up Shiva's banner. His body was lined with the white ash. He held a bow and arrow. He carried the quiver suspended over his back. The gunners too assumed the form of hunters. Shiva too became the chief of Bhilas. The commander-in-chief started various sounds. The grunting sound of the boar too spread over the quarters. Arjuna was excited by the sound that spread in the forest. Even the mountains were agitated by these sounds. Oh, can this be Shiva, the benefactor? I have heard about this as mentioned by Krishna. Vyasa too has mentioned, and the gods too. Shiva is mentioned as the benefactor. Shiva is the cause of happiness. He is called the bestower of salvation because he bestows salvation upon his devotees. Undoubtedly, welfare befalls those who remember his names. Even, even in dreams, misery does not befall those who worship him with devotion. If it happens at all, it is due to their previous activities. That must happen whether big or small. The fault is particularly that of the action that has begun to fructify. Or Shiva may dispel the misery by his will, after one has experienced the fruits of one's action, big or small. He can convert poison into nectar and nectar into poison. Whatever he wishes, he certainly does. How can an efficient man be thwarted? Devotees of yore and future devotees must keep their minds steady after considering all those aspects, whether one is in affluent circumstances or not, whether death is imminent or not, or whether people praise or censure. Misery is quelled. Shiva is always the bestower of happiness through the merit and sin of individuals. Sometimes Shiva makes us miserable in order to test us. Since he is compassionate, he is said to be the bestower of happiness. Ultimately, a gold piece can become pure only when it is put into the fire and purified. This has been heard by me from the sage. Hence I shall attain blessed happiness through his worship alone. While he was musing thus, the boar came within the range of his arrow discharged. In order to protect Arjuna, Shiva, favorably disposed towards his devotees, came there, closely pursuing the boar. Between the two, the animal rushed on and then halted. A wonderful horn was seen. Then both of them discharged the arrow. Shiva's arrow hit the tail. Arjuna's arrow hit the snout. Shiva's arrow hit the tail and stopped at the snout. It struck the ground and entered it. Arjuna's arrow pierced through the body. It came out of the tail and fell at its side. The boar, who was a daitya, fell dead on the ground. The gods were much delighted. They showered flowers, bowing down and eulogizing. They cried shouts of victory. On seeing the cruel form of the daitya, Shiva was glad and Arjuna was happy. With an excessively happy mind, Arjuna said, "Oh, this is a huge daitya. He had assumed this wonderful form and had come here to kill me. But I have been saved by Indra. Lord Shiva has given me intelligence. Lord Shiva has given me keen intelligence. There's no doubt in this." After thinking thus, Arjuna repeated Shiva's name. He bowed to Shiva and eulogized him again and again. See if there's any footnotes. 96. The battle between Arjuna and Shiva, disguised as Kirata over the possession of an arrow that killed the boar, as described in chapter 39, 40, 41 here, forms the main theme of Bhairavi's Kirat Arjunia. And here in today's reading of the Shiva Puran. Hari Om Tat Sat.